Hey everybody, this is Dania Guth with Dania Guth, Foothills Real Estate, and in this video today we're going to be talking about the pros and the cons of living in Evergreen, Colorado. Evergreen is a city that brought us out here originally from South Florida almost 25 years ago, maybe more than 25 years ago. I got to think about that. And so yeah, we moved here from Florida, and talk about a difference in environment. You can't get more extreme than South Florida to Evergreen, Colorado for a lot of different things. And some of those are going to be pros and some of those are going to be cons. So we're going into those here shortly. Why we're doing this, we have done a few different videos on the areas that are focused on for my wife Dania. Dania is the real estate agent. I do the marketing for her, and so why we're doing this, we did this for people that are moving here many years ago, before YouTube was even a thing. So we've been doing this for a while, and we created a DVD that we would send out to people that was footage that we took for the area. Back then. It's dated, so we don't use it anymore. And so I just thought I'd do an updated video here. And because we have YouTube and the ability to share and watch these kind of things, at your convenience, we decided to put some educational videos here. So if you want to get more things like this, I'm going to be doing videos on, the restaurants and the amenities in the area, on the history of Evergreen as well. Click on the like button and the subscribe button, and you'll get notified whenever we do new videos like that. And so let's go into the pros of Evergreen and what we love about it, or what we loved about it when we came out here. Just the first thing that comes to mind is the picturesque nature of the area. It's got a charm to it. It's got a downtown area that is very charming. And it's got a history to it. Like I said, I've been doing some videos on the history of Evergreen because I find it fascinating, how these cities came about, back in the mid to late 1800s. And even before that, the Ute Indians and so things like that. So it's got a real charm to it. There are lots of different amenities that you'll find here in Evergreen that some of the other foothills communities won't have. It's definitely the largest and the most populous city in the foothills area. Your average elevation is probably about 8,500 feet above sea level, and just like I said, the picturesque nature of the area is just really hard to beat. I'm going to be interspersing some footage in here that you'll see that is going to really highlight, what's so beautiful about this area. So talking about it is one thing, but you'll be seeing it as well. So, I might pause the video here to kind of just give you some of that beautiful backdrop and some of the more beautiful things that you'll find here in Evergreen. Like I said, a charming downtown area. You've got a lake area as well that is beautiful and just incredibly charming. I keep using that word charming, but that's what drew us out here originally, because we, again, came from an area that didn't have anything like this. And you've got nature. Another quality or another pro is the nature that you're going to find here. So first trip out here, we ran into these massive animals known as elk. I'd never seen one before. And so they're all over the place. They're just running around wild, as are the deer. You can't go a day in Evergreen without probably running into a deer. And then you've got bears that you'll run into as well. They're a little mischievous, and so dig into your garbage sometimes. So we've got a special garbage can that we just got that will hopefully keep them from getting into our garbage cans. But tons of wildlife. We've run into skunks. I've run into porcupines. Things that you just don't run into coming from a big city like South Florida. Fort Lauderdale, Miami, something like that. So that's another pro that you'll run into here. Another pro that we have found is just the activities. You've got everything you can think of in terms of quality of life that matters to people that like outdoor activities. Tons and tons of hiking trails. You'll find so many parks in this area. Evergreen itself has a ton of parks with hiking trails, biking trails, mountain biking. People that love mountain biking, you've got all of that covered here. You've got climbing. You want to do climbing, you've got climbing as well. And then you've got whitewater rafting not too far away. So if you haven't tried that before, absolutely must experience activities, whitewater rafting, and it's not far away as well. And so that's another pro that you'll find. And then winter, you're not far from the ski resorts. You'll take the main highway 73, 74 through Evergreen to I-70, and then I-70 is the major highway east-west that runs through Denver. You're going to catch it, up into the mountains, and you're going to just head towards the west, and you'll run into the Breckenridges, the Copper Mountains, the Vail, the Beaver Creeks, all within, Vail and Beaver Creek are the furthest ones away, and the ones that I mentioned there, they're going to be about an hour and a half away. You get Steamboat and Winter Park. You got your choice of ski resorts that you'll be able to get to very quickly and easily. And of course, you've got snowshoeing and sledding available to you as well. So just a ton of outdoor activities. You cannot beat it here. I just think that that's one of the biggest draws to this area. And the weather, another pro here is the weather. It's going to be a con here in a little bit because, I'm going to be going through the snow story here. But for us, coming from South Florida, we really enjoy the change of season. So you've got all 4 seasons here. You've got, right now it's June 14th, I believe, and it's, 80, it says 89 degrees in my car. It's probably not really that hot because my car might be warm, but it's in the 80s. And that's exceedingly warm for Evergreen. Typically, it's in the mid-70s in the summertime. And we just love that. We never like the heat and the humidity. So it's dry here as well. So again, a pro for us, maybe a con for somebody else. So you've got, mild temperatures in the winter, and it never really gets that bad here in the wintertime. That's another thing. So when you compare winter here to winter on the East Coast or some of the other places that, in the Midwest even, we just, typically what'll happen is you'll get a storm that comes in, drops a lot of snow, and then the sun comes out the next day. A high pressure system comes in and melts it all away in a relatively short amount of time. You won't get these, very rarely we have a winter where it snows and you don't see the ground again until springtime. It just doesn't really happen very often here. It has, in 25 years, but it's not typical. Typically, storm comes in, drops that snow, lovely, beautiful, and it melts it away. So the winter times are relatively mild when you're comparing it to those Midwest and Northeast kind of winters. My mom's from Maine, and so nothing like what people experience in Maine, Holton, Maine. Take I-95 till it ends. That's where she was from. And so, weather is just fantastic here. And you've got a beautiful fall. You've got the aspens that change colors that are absolutely spectacular in late September and early October. So you got a year-round change of seasons that we really appreciate, again, coming from South Florida. So that's another one of the pros. I'm going to pause and think of some more pros because I know I'm missing some. Oh yeah, so another one of the pros that comes to mind are the amenities and the restaurants that you've got here. As compared to some of the other foothill cities like Conifer, Bailey, Pine, you're going to have much more here available to you in terms of options that are going to, make you feel like you're in a city. You're away from a city, you're away from Denver, but you've got those kind of options available to you. Fine dining to fast food restaurants, and all those things are available to you here as well. You're also not far from Denver, so you're close to, if none of the places here meet your criteria, you're 45 minutes from downtown Denver from here. Take I-70, shoot it straight down to I-25, and then take I-25 south. Boom, you're in downtown Denver. 45 minutes, depending upon traffic, of course. And from there, you've got everything. You've got every big box you can think of. Denver's just a big city, so I don't need to talk anymore about that. You've got everything you could think of really close by when you're living here in Evergreen, Colorado. So that's another one of the pros that's available to you. So now let's go into the cons. Everything's got, a flip side. It's going to be harder for me to go into the cons because I just love the city so much. But the cons, weather. If you don't like snow and you don't like the altitude here, you are not going to like a winter here. You will get winters that are harsher than others, and some that last longer than others. And so you will have to shovel your driveway or plow your driveway or clear your driveway somehow, some way. So you just won't get away from that. And depending upon where you live, this is something to factor in when you're looking at a house here. You want to know which way your driveway is facing, because if you have a driveway that's not going to get a lot of sun exposure, that will create a lot more misery for you in terms of clearing that driveway. And a lot of people don't realize that. It's not uncommon for people to move here in the summertime, happy as can be, and not realize that the way their house is facing, you don't have to disclose that when you're buying a house or selling a house in particular, and they will be like, wow, this is miserable and I can't handle this, and they'll be gone within a year or so. And so that's not uncommon. So you're going to have to deal with the winters. Some, again, not as bad as others, but some will be a little more challenging. Let's put it that way. So that's one. And then altitude. Some people, the altitude for us isn't an issue, but you do have to adjust, and it may be too much for some people. If you're having trouble breathing, our oxygen level is lower here. So you're looking at coming from sea level, like we did, to where we live, 8,500 feet above sea level, or 8,700 feet above sea level, I believe, is our actual elevation. Your average elevation here is about 8,500 feet above sea level. So Denver's a mile high, 5,280. We're another, 3,000 feet above that. So altitude is another con that you'll have to factor in if you are, compromised in any way, shape, or form, or just, don't like that altitude. And some people don't like the dryness. For me, it's not a problem, but it is dry here. The humidity level is going to be lower depending on the season. And so that might be something else that you're not a big fan of. So that's one of the cons. Another con, so let's do the cons again. So another one of the biggest cons, and I may move this to the front end of the cons because I think it is the biggest challenge, at least, is going to be the cost of housing here. The cost of housing has gone up significantly over the last year, and particularly the last 2 years, but it's just been insane. The average house price in Evergreen is about almost $800,000. As I checked it most recently, I think it was $790,000, and it's almost $800,000, and that's almost a 20% increase in the last 12 months. So housing prices have just gone through the roof. It's harder and harder for buyers to find a house. It's not uncommon to have to overbid or pay more than the asking price of the house because you've got competition that's willing to pay more. And so that's very frustrating. Buyers are very frustrated currently in this market, and that may change. It's June 14th, 2021, and it's just been really insane here of late. But by the time you're watching this video, perhaps it's kind of calmed down a little bit and it's not nearly as bad. But Evergreen, another con is that Evergreen's going to be a little more expensive than those other foothill communities. So the average cost of a house, like I said, is about $800,000 here. What we call the sister city Conifer, which there's a video for Conifer to watch on that, is going to be about $100,000 less. And so you can look at that a couple ways. So you'll either get the same size house, but you get more land in Conifer for your dollar, or you'll get a bigger house and the same amount of land. So that, and it's not that much different in terms of it's right next door to Evergreen. So Evergreen, because you're buying into the charm and the name Evergreen, it has some I guess qualities that people want in this area that you're not going to find maybe in the other cities. But you can find a little more house or a little more land for a little less money, and definitely more in Pine and definitely more in Bailey. So again, there'll be videos in all those cities as well, going through those pros and cons. So those are some of the cons that you got to think about when living here. And I think that's all there is for now. So again, if you want to get more like this, if you have any questions at all about the real estate market, Dania is the expert. Her contact info is going to be down in the description below. We love to help people out that are moving here. It really is exciting for us to share, our passion around why we chose to live here those many years ago. We thought we'd be here for 5 years. It's been almost 25 years. So that should say a lot about, what we feel that this area brings in terms of quality of life. And another pro that I got to intersperse in here as well is the school system here. The school system's fantastic. There's a number of schools here. There's Evergreen High School, and then there's Evergreen Middle School that feeds into it, and then 3 elementary schools that feed into it as well. I'm going to do a whole video on the schools here, but the quality of the schools is fantastic. So another one of the pros that you'll find here is the school system is just really, really good. And so I want to make sure I added that, intersperse that into the pros as well. And so I think that's it. As you can see, I'm a pretty big fan, or we're a pretty big fan of the area. It's much easier for me or for us to find the pros than the cons, but there are definitely the cons, and hopefully I cover those for you. If you have any questions at all about real estate matters or area questions about quality of life, anything like that, definitely reach out to Dania. She's the best. I mean, she really is, and she knows the business inside and out, unlike anybody else out there. And so feel free, her contact information is down below in the description area, and we'd love to help you out. Share our passion for the community in the area. We just obviously love it here. We thought we'd be here for 5 years, and here we are 25 years later somehow. I don't know how that happened, but here we are. So anyway, thanks for watching. Reach out if you have any questions.